Hey guys, welcome to Horror Movie Rewind. I'm Dustin. Today I'm going to be doing a review for Weapons. Newly released, had a lot of hype coming behind it. Before we get into the actual review part, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I felt going in. I didn't do like a prediction or theory video. And I think his name's Zach Cregger, director. He's notorious for Barbarian, which was a movie I saw in theaters. I don't think I was as big a fan as everyone else. It was really fun for one viewing. It didn't have repeat viewing qualities to me at all. I did watch it, I think, twice, because I think the first time I seen it, I saw it without my wife, which, if you know, requires a second viewing. But yeah, it was fun. I think that movie was really creepy and scary. And I guess this is going to be that guy's style, but it kind of got just thrown away like a joke to me. But I mean, it was a good film. It was all right. Just not what I was expecting, and not in a good way. I feel like he could have went 1,000 different directions, but it got his name on the map. So I get it, man. Do you know? But I didn't go into this like overly hyped because of Barbarians. I'm on the lower end of that like fence as far as, I don't think that's a real saying. But yeah, I mean, that wasn't my favorite film. I just got some weird ass like twist ending, yeah, but that don't validate it for me. Anyways, this movie, you had the. He's definitely taking a page out of M. Night Shyamalan's book with the really cryptic and obviously like twists. Although the one we're about to talk about actually didn't really have a twist, but yeah, I get it. Like the promotion stuff, like you don't know what you're getting into, and unfortunately, with this movie, it ends up being a lot like some M. Night Shyamalan films, a la The Village, where you kind of showed us all this stuff up front that looked like it could build up to be a creepy fucking movie, and I didn't think it delivered. But before I get to the actual, my opinion review on it, I'll talk about a couple things. And like, it's a sensitive topic, but like, I couldn't help but think the last couple months with what we knew from the trailers and the little bit of like promotional like stuff that they had put out. And I mean, again, this is unfortunate, but like, to me, it had strong school shooting vibes because, well, hell, the name's Weapons. And you only had one kid that showed up for school the next day. So I went down in my head like this rabbit hole thinking that, this is like maybe a lucid dream, or I don't know, something. But it felt like there could be some kind of like analogy or, just a social commentary on school shootings. And that's not what happened, but I did find out I wasn't completely wrong. And again, there's a couple things I'm going to touch on before the review. And obviously, this contains spoilers. It's in the title. But and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this. This isn't like something like hidden. Like I didn't uncover like, something like unknown to everyone else. But when I Googled, because if you've seen the film, there's a dream sequence with a assault rifle in the sky, looking very like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when Freddy Krueger is playing puppeteer. But the assault rifle's there, and it's also got like an alarm clock on it. Again, it's just dream, so it doesn't really make sense. So I Googled assault rifle 217 after I watched the movie, and apparently there was a bill in 2022 that, if it had passed, would have been Bill 217, and it would have been a ban on assault rifles. Just a little thing to throw in there real quick. That's pretty much it on that. But I thought that, yeah, I figured there was something to it. And so if you hadn't heard that before, there you go. I'm sure I'm not the first one to say it. But yeah, unfortunately, I went there in my head. But I mean, it wouldn't have been the first or the fifth time someone has. I mean, hell, Elephant come out, I think, a year after Columbine, like a Gus Van Sant movie, and really good movie, really disturbing movie, and really apparently accurate to a lot of things that actually occurred in that tragedy. But nonetheless, yeah, okay, let's get that out of the way. I did like kind of half-ass predict that it had a school shooting vibe, and I wasn't right, but I wasn't really wrong. There's the weapons thing, right? Bill 217 that never came to pass, literally. And then, yeah, again, spoilers, but I will say this, like, it kind of, it was really anticlimactic because it kind of told on itself a little early with your witch reveal, the blood witch. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm going to be honest about that. Like, I looked up, like, well, fuck, types of witches when I got out, and apparently that, what was her name? Damn it. Think of it in a second. She was a blood witch, though. Yeah. And the whole, like, painting on the side of our, like, lead character's car, and even Josh Brolin's character painting the door red, apparently that ties in. And it's but that's one of the problems I have with that movie is it kind of told on itself, or it revealed itself earlier in the movie than I thought it probably should have. Again, not to harken back to Barbarian, but at least in that movie, you had this like really tense build up until probably, can't even call it the third act, maybe like the last 15 to 20 minutes of that movie, maybe a little longer. I don't remember. Again, I've only watched it twice. But yeah, so with all that being said, I'll give you my opinion, and don't get me wrong. And I know, like, I don't have a whole lot of videos on here, and I don't know that I've done a lot of really good reviews, like, meaning that, like, I've gave a lot of positive stuff. I'm not a negative person. I obviously love horror movies. That's why I wanted to do this. But, it wasn't shit. It wasn't terrible. But it doesn't have repeat view quality whatsoever for me. Again, I'll watch it a second time because I seen it yesterday afternoon and my wife wasn't able to go with me. So I'll at least get 2 viewings out of it. But it's not something like, again, like, not to compare everything to like Scream or, stuff like that. But like, usually if I repeat watch a movie, especially in theaters and it's a horror film, it better knock my fucking socks off, or I want to go back looking for something else. And honestly, with this movie, there was no reason for that. There is no reason for it. Like, there's nothing to decipher or to, like, oh, shit, oh, that's not cool. Well, mainly because they pretty much tell you what the hell's going on, like, halfway through the movie. And it's just waiting on a resolution, which was, again, anticlimactic. But, no, it was an enjoyable movie. I literally found myself, like, looking at my phone the last 30, 45 minutes. Because I knew the runtime on it, like, was waiting on it to be over with. Because there was nothing, like, left, I thought, for me to uncover from it. And I ended up being right. But, there's some really good acting. Josh Brolin, I like Josh Brolin a lot. Really good actor. Not a big fan. And I should know her name right now, but not a big fan of hers. Chick from I think Ozarks, and she was in the Wolfman remake, a couple other things. And I know a lot of people give her shit online because she's an awkward looking chick, but it's almost like, and I know they didn't do it on purpose, but in this movie they kind of poked fun at her, not on purpose, but I like to think that it was, or it made me laugh, like, to myself, because she's just really whiny and, like, just, there's a self-absorbed character to her in everything I've seen her in. And it's funny because this character, they actually have some dialogue speaking on the character she's playing being the exact same kind of person. But yeah, I mean, I don't dislike her. It's just not my favorite. And she's a scene stealer in a bad way in a lot of things I've seen. Like, just because she's like pitching a fit emotionally, not literally like a kid kicking and screaming. That's just the way I feel about her. But anyway, it's a pretty good acting all the way around. I don't know, man. It was just like, okay, I seen it, but it definitely didn't leave wowed. And I guess this another case of, like, when something gets hyped so much, and I get, like, who the hell's hyping this shit? Like, I get this guy, I think, was it Zach Krieger or something like that? Like, he's Yeah, it's supposed to be the next big thing. He's no Mike Flanagan, but the point is, like, I feel like this movie just got like thumped into the atmosphere based on something else I don't understand. Like I mentioned earlier, Barbarians, like fanfare. But anyway, it honestly just kind of bored the shit out of me for most of the time. There were some like funny scenes. That's the best part of the film to me. It was pretty damn hilarious, and it was self-aware of that. It wasn't, I'm not laughing because it was like shitty funny. No, he did a really good job. And I mean, I guess if you look back at Barbarian, like not until really the end, I don't think, there were scenes, but this was very much intentionally funny throughout the film. And like it being a horror film, I mean, maybe certain people wouldn't find it funny. No, there were scenes that every fucking body in a theater was laughing about with good cause. But probably my favorite part of the film was the comedic scenes. And again, they were self-aware, but it's hard for me to even categorize it as a horror film. The trailer, in fact, said a lot of people in this town died in a lot of weird ways, and I didn't do a body count on it, but like, there's not a hell of a lot of deaths in that movie if you don't count the. I'm having a hard time putting a word on it. Not necessarily antagonists, but the protagonists defending themselves, right? I know I already said there's spoilers in this, but if you want to call them like zombies or, whatever, but the people that were under control of the witch, several of those die. But it wasn't a gore fest throughout. There's definitely some really gory scenes, but like thinking right offhand, like think about like 2, maybe 3 characters that get it that aren't like being aggressors. Anyhow, I'm kind of rambling on that, but not scary at all. Creepy atmosphere at times. There's a couple of scenes, a couple of shots. That I wouldn't call them unnerving, but they were, spooky. But again, even the things that I think were supposed to be kind of creepy, like the fucking kids running like with their arms out. Like I even like about 30, 45 minutes in the movie, I was like, is this some kind of like Peter Pan reference? Like, cause they're like looking like they're imitating jets, or I don't know what the hell they were doing, but it was that. I don't think that was intentional, and it looked silly as hell. And throughout the whole movie, you have people, they show like the scenes of the kids multiple times doing that, and then you see fucking adults doing it, and like, yeah, the principal, I know that was supposed to be kind of like tense or scary, and then they turned it into a joke when he ultimately gets fucking splattered. But I don't know, man, this movie just wasn't scary at all. Again, I don't hate that I watched it, but not really. I'm not gonna like own it, and it just didn't live up to hype. But I mean, I've been watching horror movies for a long, long fucking time, and that's, like even Bloody Disgusting, man, they get it wrong every now and then. And I'm not even saying that I read a review on there, but I mean, actually, I'm tipping my hat to them. I value their opinion like more times than not. But like, everyone's different, so like some people are going to enjoy things more than others. But like, I really just didn't get the hype with this movie, and it's like any box it could check that would have redeemed itself with me. Again, not a bad movie, just not at all like something like that I would expect to receive the, whether you call it festival hype or, just basically you got to see this shit kind of vibe around it. No, you don't, bud. Like, well, not in my opinion. You don't. Like, I like to see horror films in theaters, so I'm not going to say if I had it to do ever again, I wouldn't have watched it on a big screen, but like, it wasn't required viewing, except for like, I like doing this, But anyways, not a terrible movie. I'm not going to do a numerical like ranking on it, but it just wasn't frightening at all. It exposed itself way too soon, in my opinion. And when I come out of a movie that supposedly has all this like hype behind it, and the best thing exponentially, like by far, that I could say about it is it was fucking hilarious like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, it's not really what I'm looking for in a horror movie. But anyways, that's just my opinion, guys. Again, I'm Dustin. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.